Hi friends, so again back with a new video. So as here ଦେଖିପାରୁଥିବେ ସେଇ ବହି ଦ ଷ୍ଟୋରି ଅଫ୍ ମାଇ ଏକ୍ସପେରିମେଣ୍ଟସ୍ ୱିଥ୍ ଟ୍ରୁଥ୍ ଯେପରି କହିଥିଲି କାଲି ଇଣ୍ଟ୍ରୋଡକ୍ସନ୍ କ୍ଲାସ୍ ଯାଇଥିଲା। ସୋ ଆଜି ଫାଷ୍ଟ କ'ଣ କରୁଛି ନା ପାର୍ଟ 1ର ଫାଷ୍ଟ ଚାପ୍ଟର ଯେଉଁଟା ଅଛି ବର୍ଥ ଆଣ୍ଡ ପାରେଣ୍ଟେଜ୍ ସେଇଠୁ ଆମେ ପଢ଼ା ଷ୍ଟାର୍ଟ କରିବା। ତା ପୂର୍ବରୁ ଅଛି ଟ୍ରାନ୍ସଲେଟର ସ୍ପିଚ୍ ଅଥର୍ସ ଇଣ୍ଟ୍ରୋଡକ୍ସନ୍। ଏଇଟା ଏତେ ଜାଣିବାର ନାହିଁ ଯେ ମହାଦେବ ଦେଶାଇ କେମିତି ଇଣ୍ଟ୍ରୋଡକ୍ସନ୍ କରିଛନ୍ତି, କ'ଣ ଲେଖିଛନ୍ତି, ତାଙ୍କ ବିଷୟରେ ସବୁ କୁହାଯାଇଛି ଟିକେ। ସୋ ସେ ବିଷୟରେ ଏତେ ଆମର ଜାଣିବାର ନାହିଁ। ଆମେ ଫାଷ୍ଟ ବର୍ଥ ଆଣ୍ଡ ପ୍ୟାରେଣ୍ଟେଜ୍ ଆରମ୍ଭ କରିବା। ସୋ ଲେଟ୍ସ ସି ମହାଦେବ ଦେଶାଇ କ'ଣ ଲେଖିଛନ୍ତି, କେମିତି ଭାବରେ ଅନୁବାଦ କରିଛନ୍ତି। Birth and parentage. The Gandhis belong to the Baniya caste and seem to have been originally grocers. But for 3 generations from my grandfather, originally they have been prime ministers in several Kathiawar states. They have been prime ministers in several Kathiawar states. Uttam Chand Gandhi, alias Ota Gandhi, my grandfather, must have been a man of principle. State intrigues compelled him to leave Porbandar, where he was Diban, and to seek refuge in Junagadh. There he saluted the Nawab with the left hand. Someone, noticing the apparent discourtesy, asked for an explanation, which was given thus: the right hand is already placed to Porbandar. Ota Gandhi is married a second time, having lost his first wife. He had 4 sons by the first wife and 2 sons by his second wife. I do not think that in my childhood I ever felt or knew what these sons of Ota Gandhi were all of the same mother. The fifth of these 6 brothers was Karamchand Gandhi, alias Kaba Gandhi, and the sixth was Tulasi Gandhi. Both of these brothers were prime ministers in Porbandar, one after the other. Kaba Gandhi was my father. He was a member of the Rajasthani court. It is now extant, but in those days it was a very influential body for settling disputes between the chiefs and their fellow clansmen. He was for some time prime minister in Rajkot and then in Vankanar. He was a pensioner of the Rajkot state when he died. Kaba Gandhi married 4 times in succession, having lost his wife each time by death. He had 2 daughters by his first and second marriages. His last wife Putalibai bore him a daughter and 3 sons. I, being the youngest, my father was a lover of his clan, truthful, brave, and generous, but short-tempered. To a certain extent, he might have been given a carnal pleasures. Both he married for the 4th time when he was over 40, but he was now incorruptible and had earned a name of strict impartiality in his family as well as outside. His loyalty to the state was well known, and an assistant police agent spoke insultingly to the Rajkot Thakur Sahab, his chief, and he stood up to the insult. The agent was angry and asked Kaba Gandhi to apologize. This the refused to do was therefore kept under detention for a few hours. But when the agent saw Kavagandhi was undermined, he ordered him to be released. My father never had any ambition to accumulate riches and left us very little property. He had no education save that experience. At the best, he might be said to have read up to the fifth Gujarati standard of history and geography. He was innocent, but his rich experiences of practical affairs stood him in good stead in the solution of most intricate questions and in managing hundreds of men of religious training. He had very little, but he had that kind of religious culture with frequent visits to temples and listening to religious discourses make available to many Hindus. In these last days he began reading the Gita at the instance of a learned Brahman friend of the family, and he used to repeat aloud some verses every day at the time of worship. The outstanding impression my mother has left on my memory is that of saintliness. She was deeply religious. She would not think of taking her meals without her daily prayers. Going to Haveli, the Vaishnav temple, was one of her daily duties. As far as my memory can go back, I don't remember her having ever missed Chaturmas. She would take the hardest pose and keep them without flinching. Illness was no excuse for relaxing them. I can recall her once falling ill when she was observing the Chandrayaan but the illness was not allowed to interrupt the observance. To keep 2 or 3 consecutive fasts was nothing to her. Living one living on one meal a day during Chaturmas was a habit with her. Not content with that, she had fasted every alternate day during one Chaturmas. During another Chaturmas, she vowed not to have food without seeing the sun. We children on those days would stand staring at the sky, waiting to announce the appearance of the sun to our mother. Everyone knows that at the height of the rainy season, the sun often does not condense to show his face. And I remember days when, at his sudden appearance, we would rush and announce to it. She would run out to see with her own eyes, but by that time the fugitive sun would be gone, thus depriving her of her meal. That doesn't matter, she would say cheerfully. God did not want me to eat today, and she would return to her round of duties. My mother had strong common sense. She was well informed about all matter of state, and ladies of the court thought highly of her intelligence. Often I would accompany her, exercising the privilege of childhood, and I still remember many lively discussions she had with the widowed mother of the Thakre Sahab. Of the parents, I was born at Porbandar, otherwise known as Sudampuri, on 2 October 1869. I passed my childhood in Porbandar. I recollect having been put to school. It was with some difficulty that I got through the multiplication tables. The fact that I recollect nothing more of those days than having learnt in company with the other boys to call our teacher all kind of names would strongly suggest that my intellect must have been sluggish and my memory raw.